Oh, yes, sorry. This is a, this is a CP test story, indeed. I was just about to, self-post. I'm being told that my microphone's getting picked up, but I'm not sure if I have it set up right to get pushed through the screen. Be quiet, or do I need to enunciate more? I can try to up the gain in filters. Underwater. Ooh. Oh, that's a new one. Oh, this effect. Well, I might have to go back to the drawing board then and get a new microphone. But this will work for now. I'll just keep playing it. Do what will work too, and you guys would mind feel free to stick around. Don't have to talk if you don't want to. So, Work Forward is a very melee focused class. And they have a lot of defensive abilities. They're focused on outlasting opponents and just wearing them down over time. So you have a lot of shield skills in the class, and a couple normal melee skills here. And the combat veteran list of skills is very useful because it contains passive health regen. Not sure what I just said. Is this any better? Microphone too far away from my face. Always a problem when your microphone is a headset that's not on your head. Very scuffed. But it'll do for now. So you get some points at the start of every game with your first level. So we'll just put the generic points into Vitality because that saves you from death a lot. It's a very fast regeneration trigger. Once you drop below about a quarter of your health. And you could just take the shield dash and the bullet shield wall ability. So points into life and into strength. And we're good. So this is a kind of classic dungeon crawling roguelike RPG, where you actually have a defined world and story, and the only random generation in the game is from the dungeons themselves and the items that you will collect while you're playing. It also has a handy auto-explore button, which will make some dungeons like this very samey starting dungeon much easier and quicker to get to. Pardon me. I don't get an opportunity to talk a lot, so my voice might already begin to be getting shot. And yeah, it's like a randomizer, almost. If you've ever seen, what's it? A Link to the Past has a randomizer ROM mod that just shuffles items around. But unlike that, where the maps are static, there are static maps in this game, but every dungeon has different hallway layouts. Some rooms are pre-generated, of course. But with every new playthrough, the dungeons are going to be much different. We're looking for these stairs right now. There are about 3 floors in this first dungeon. Oh, and this is a neat feature unique to this roguelike in particular, is that you have encumbrance, and all of the items that you pick up go into this thing called the transmogrification chest, which is like a secondary inventory. And any of these items that you don't want just get converted straight into money, which is kind of neat. I haven't seen that replicated anywhere else, really. So we'll just take a couple of these items and chuck for us. And these stairs spawned right next to us on the next floor, which is nice, but always good to clear out floors looking for the collect XP from all the monsters. Yeah, there are a lot of rats in here. This is the level 1 dungeon, and I noticed we gained a level on the last floor, so we'll just go ahead and apply those points right now. And the strength and the constitution, drop the points into stamina recovery because it's a prerequisite for health recovery at level 4, and we'll get the next level mortality. And we can rest to recover our health, and go back to clearing out this floor of the dungeon. How many levels does this dungeon have? This dungeon is a starting dungeon, so it only has, I think, 3 floors, and it's either the 3rd or the 4th floor that is a miniature boss encounter, which we'll be seeing in a little bit. And since we're playing as a dwarf, we have access to the dwarf city, which is a little... Oh, I just realized that I had the game audio off. My audio setup is very stuffed. I am not an audio person. But since we start as a dwarf, we have access to the dwarf city, which has a second dungeon that no other races can access. I forget the exact name of it, but it's like an abandoned mine. And there is a very fun encounter at the end of it that I won't spoil ahead of time. I have a lot of experience with this game. I thought it would be a good pick for a first stream. Yeah, this game is a very well-produced roguelike. It has audio, which not a lot of roguelikes can claim that they have. Usually roguelikes get audio from fan-made sound packs. Ooh, audio quite loud. How is this? How's this audio look? Okay, better? I can make it quieter if it's still not good. Okay, we've wrapped around to the stairs, so the floor is clear. 3 boots, always have 3 boots. 2-handed weapon, you need shields. Better war axes. Items in this game are infused with magic, nature, arcane forces, arcane disrupting forces. That usually matters if you're a wizard or a psionic, but since we are bashy dwarf boy, we do not care about any of that. We were just looking for raw physical stats and damage modifiers, stat modifiers. This one has a really good accuracy modifier, +5. So we're just going to take that and check all the other items. Ah, yes, here we go. This is the little boss floor where they throw a big orc at us. So we're going to turn on our Wild Infusion, which is a damage reduction, which the Bulwark class starts with, we're going to try to parry his first blow, which worked a little bit, but we didn't get the parry stone, but that's okay. We get the counter damage for 71 damage. Bash him with the shield, and he's already out to 2/3 of his health, so we're just going to wail on him, bash him again, and it's done. Oh, that's actually a really good pickup. This game has named artifacts, which are unique items that are not randomly generated. So the Coral Spray is a shield, which we can use. A very good shield. It's I think it's a tier 2 item? No, it's just a tier 1 item, but it has a water spray ability. When you're hit in combat, you have a chance to reflect cold damage back at the attacker. Pretty useful. I have no idea what this is, but it looks useful. I don't even know about it. 10% chance on hurt to negate the blow entirely. No, that's pretty good. A nice hat. Handed weapons, leather armor, trash. And we are out here. So this is the Dwarven city here. It's got a couple shops in it. We're kind of poor right now. Only 29 gold pieces, not a lot of gear. So we're not interested in the shop. What we're interested in is this staircase right here, because this takes us to the next dungeon. And we gained a lot of levels from beating the boss orc, so we're going to go put those points into the stats and skills again. This combat change is very useful. Provides a lot of flat passive buffs to your equipment. Especially this flat damage resistance skill. So this is an abandoned mine, basically. It's full of dark creatures, corrupted dwarves, wild rabbits that are biting through your neck. These little bat guys are really nasty. How many races are there? I don't know the exact number. There are quite a few. I breezed through the character select screen because I wanted to get straight into the game, but when this character inevitably dies, I can give you a nice good look at it. I know there are halflings, half-elves, elves. I think you can play as orcs, but I'm not sure if I've unlocked that yet, since this game has a content locking and unlocking system. But there are plenty of races to choose from and even more classes. And I really appreciate that this roguelike allows you to play as a Necromancer. Not many roguelikes give you an opportunity to raise the dead. And we just got another name drop here. The Skullcleaver is a very nice axe with a good critical modifier, and it has life steal, which is something that I have latched onto too heavily in the past. Because if you're disarmed or frozen, your lifesteal means nothing, so it's health that you like to pretend you have, but when you really need it, you don't have it. There's no reason through this dungeon. Now that we have these two very nice hold items. Kind of on autopilot here. And the game is searching for the stairs, finds the stairs. We have better boots to wear. Shield that does not compare to the mighty Coral Spray. A wand of shielding. I have no need of such trinkets. With 17 races and 36 classes. Thank you, Narkowski. Hello. And welcome to the stream. And I don't think I said welcome to the stream to Ilska. Hello, Ilska. Melee combat in this game is not particularly in-depth until later. So at the start, it's mostly just using direct damage skills and walking into your opponents. Which for the bulwark is perfectly fine, because you can take all sorts of damage at this level. Just as long as you don't get frozen or disarmed. Those are the two deadliest things to happen to a non-magic using melee class. We got another level, I think. I'm going to use that as an opportunity to take this rush skill, which lets us close the gap between our enemies and ourselves. I'm really thinking the heavy armor. Right. Cooldowns. I forgot about cooldowns. I should have done that sooner. So these guys that have the little... I don't know how well you can see it, but they have a little pink border around them, and sometimes they'll have particle effects floating around them. They are rare and usually named enemies. Sometimes they're unique. They're tougher, and they usually have access to magic abilities that their enemy class wouldn't normally give them, which can be very deadly sometimes, because it adds an element of the unexpected into the combat. Especially in the more open zones. This is a more closed zone, as you can see. The rooms are more like hallways. It's like one continuous hallway, instead of being a bunch of rooms connected by one tile hallways with very high visibility. We're taking a lot of damage here, so we're going to turn on the pain suppression and activate the regeneration moves that we start with. Clear it out, no problem. Oh, that was a troll. Those are a little uncommon here, but we'll be seeing more of them soon. A worm, a fox, a leather tunic, and we're looking for the stairs again. Ooh, a rare hat. How does this compare? It doesn't provide any armor penetration, one more armor. Stat modifiers. I like stat modifiers. Especially a +1 to strength. I think we put that in. Almost missed. I'll take the cold gloves over the dexterity gloves. Nobody needs a dex stag around here. And this is the fun encounter. Ooh, and we got the fun variant of the encounter. This is the mouth. It's a very big boy that wants to suck you in and eat you at the bottom of this corrupted, somewhat haunted mine. But his weakness is these little crawling bugs that he spits out. And as you can see, killing one of those bugs took about 1,000 health off of him. So we just need to hold on to these trees and wait for his bugs to come to us so we can smash them. Yeah, he's trying to give us the big suckle stick. But we won't let him. We won't let him corrupt our pure dwarf ways. And it is done. The beast is dead, and we have taken a tooth from its mouth to use as a pickaxe, which is somewhat useful, but not in the way you might think. There are a few zones in the game where digging through walls is more advantageous than attempting to walk through corridors, and that's what pickaxes are for. And from completing the tutorial dungeon earlier, we got this thing called the Rod of Recall, which just lets us exit a zone after about 30 turns or so of waiting. And now we're on the world map. The world map just connects all of the different dungeons, different towns and zones and such. Sometimes there are wandering parties of adventurers to talk to, sometimes there are wandering parties of adventurers that want to kill you. That latter is mostly if you're a mage. The world of Maj'Eyal was scarred by magic in some time in the past, and does not take kindly to practitioners of magic. In fact, oh no, that's just a hostile adventuring party. There is a faction in this world that is dedicated solely to destroying magic and magic users. I forget their name exactly, but they are quite deranged in their practices, and I believe they have something to do with blood sacrifices. Yeah, magic is pretty cringe. Around here, we just like to smack things with our big sticks. Although in this case, it's not a big stick, it's a big axe, because we're a dwarf, and we like axes. A couple dividing worms in this troll swamp here, and we have another level swim point, so we'll just get melee accuracy, increase the passive health regeneration to 20 strength, thank you very much. Skeleton on the road, a big stone troll. Tough but stupid. Snake attacking. A plant is spitting venom at us. Oh, a snapping turtle. Snapping dragon turtle attacks us. I'm just walking through this swamp here. This is the, I believe this is the default location for, humans. Humans get sent to the swamp to kill trolls or die. It's not fun to be a human. Humans are very boring. But they do get a couple extra stat points, so if you're looking to live forever, at the maximum level in this game, humans are alright. Got another level up there and picked up a ring. We'll check that ring out in a second. Ooh, big troll. Stone skin for the armor. Upgrade shield wall. Check that one out. When did we pick that? Oh, just an encumbrance ring. Yeah. Don't have anything else to put on, so I'm not. Who is this for? A big troll hedge wizard. So let's charge at him, hit him with our shield. Raise our own shield, and then try to knock some sense into him. That's a good lantern trinket. It gives a bit more light than the standard lanterns do. Well, at least it's not a poison swamp. Oh boy. Poison swamps in Dark Souls they'll skip. God, why is that a trope? They're so not fun. So this light vial is a little useful. We don't do light damage, so it gives us a little bit of light damage and also increases our resistance to light. And light magics later on are some of the more damaging magics that can be cast. So it's always nice to have specific resistances like that. Oh, speaking of specific resistances, this is the character sheet here, and on the defense screen you can see all of the specific resistances that we have. Mostly, the best one is all resistances. And there's more than these, so it only shows the ones that you have inherently. But, oh, to torture the player. Yes, that's why those poison swamps exist. But yeah, the specific resistances provided by gear are how you get the most out of your limited health pool. And while the number in the upper left here for health will keep growing as we grow as a character, while that number will keep growing, it scales with the damage we're receiving somewhat. since this game is well balanced, unless you break it, like most roguelikes. Since this game is pretty well balanced, those percentage resistances, oh, and we have an escort quest here. Those percentage resistances are exactly how you live longer than a few turns when you get to some of the later zones. I have no idea where this... I think it's an elf. I have no idea where this filthy elf wants to go. But we're going to have to pretend to care about the safety of this elf for just long enough for them to pay us. Elf is trying to outrun me so that it can charge into danger and die so that it may not provide us with a just compensation for dealing with its elvish frivolities. So knife-eared creature. Just imagine how lost he would be in the swamp without us. In fact, I'm quite lost myself. Oh, there's the portal. That purple thing down there is the, Oh no! The elf is dead! Exited our sight for just a second, and a rattlesnake was enough to send him to the afterlife. What a shame. We were almost there. So those escort quests are, somewhat random. In that you're never guaranteed to have one in any given zone. But they have really nice rewards in that they give you either like a skill point, or a stat point, or unlock training for skills that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get. So that's a nice bit of character variation embedded in a game mechanic, but it's extremely inconsistent, so it's usually best to just take those off the cuff instead of trying to plan a character around them. We got a bit better iron chainmail here, so we take that, and go on to the next zone of this swamp. Hello there, the only Ore. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We are currently wandering through this troll-infested swamp looking for treasure. Oh, you're doing quite well. That's good to hear. It's always nice when you're having a nice day. Ah, you were there for when the wonderful Bunzel was making this model. Yes, I quite like this model. I still need to get the expression tracking working properly, but I have hotkeys set up. See? So this is a big... I think it's an ice troll. It kind of looks like an ice troll, don't you think? Pretty easy to take out. And we get a note telling us about the treasure hidden in the back of this forest. Don't tell anybody else, because it's going to be our treasure soon. We get a fancy trident. God, this trident is... it's another named item. It's very nice, but since it's an exotic weapon, very few characters and classes can use it. And it does look good. It does look good. I love this model. It's everything I wanted in the character design that I made. Bunzel did a really good job with it. I'm really happy. So we're probably going to leave that trident in the chuck chest, the transmogrification chest here. Everything colored yellow is in the part of the inventory that converts everything into money, so it doesn't count against our inventory encumbrance. Speaking of encumbrance, these boots give us more stamina and stamina regen. The current boots aren't enchanted. Just a little bit of inventory management there. Ooh. Magical eel. You wish you knew how to get eyebrows working in Blender is. I can't help you there. Perhaps you would need to give them their own bones, maybe? Here's the entrance to the Trollmire treasure. The treasure in the back is this troll-infested swamp. We'll go there after we clear out this stone. Pardon me for a sec. Well, they have shape keys, but they don't track them ported to Unity. Huh. That's a very odd problem to have. Blaze Streaker, the brass lantern infused with arcane disrupting forces. Temporal darkness and all resistance. Ooh, the 3% all resistance is somewhat tempting, but it provides much less light in this fancy file. You think it's a problem with VC faces? It might be a problem with VC face. I'm not sure how VC face really wants eyebrows to be, but it air quotes here, just works with VRMs that were not imported to Blender, that whole Blender pipeline. That Blender pipeline thing is a very, very scary thing, very off-putting. We're gonna take that level up that we got earlier here. Big upgrade to the stone skin. We'll get a little bit of spell save because we're inherently weak to magic. And all 3 points to the strength here because we're gonna need the damage. So this is the room full of trolls. Thankfully, we're provided with a 1-tile wide hallway to funnel them all into. The newest VC face also resets everything. And your mouth doesn't work properly now. Oh no, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Ooh, level 10. Perfect. I think that's all of the trolls. We got a robe, you know, the kind of thing that filthy elves and dirty mages wear. Why would he put that on? There's some teleport out of here with our magic rod. Fancy defensive belt. I would take that. 200 weapon magic stone. Fire resistance instead of physical resistance. I would like the physical resistance more right now. And you're level 10. Every 10 levels, I think, you get a category point, which lets you increase a modifier to a category of skills. So we can increase one of these 1.3 modifiers to a 1.5 modifier. And look at the green numbers on the right here in the shield panel. 162% would go to 166%. So those 1.x modifiers at the top are multiplicative for the values attached to the skill. But we're robbed from a generic point at this level because we're not a human. Yes, the numbers, Ilska! The numbers, what do they mean? It's usually good if you don't have anything particular in mind to just dump your first category point into your main weapon tree. And since we're Bulwark, our main weapon is our health pool, so we're going to put that straight onto the armor skill tree, which also helps a little bit with the damage and precision numbers here, so you get 4% on top of weapons mastery. Last points, I think we're going to max out shield wall. Get some points into health. Probably get 1 dexterity. The dexterity is oddly useful because it affects how criticals work against you and your defense. This game falls back on the old role-playing game trend of using defense as a description for whether or not something is going to hit you just like armor class in early editions of Dungeons and Dragons. The defense affects whether you'll be hit, and slightly affects how much damage you receive, and then if you do get hit, you get your resistances applied to the remainder. I'm not an expert on the combat formulas behind this game, but a lot of the math... Oh, the zone is very easy. Ooh. Well, let's just go to Blast. But a lot of the math behind this game is a little complex when you try to look at all of it at once. But in isolation, it's a very interesting game built off of relatively simple mechanics. Well, I mean, very interesting if you like roguelikes with a bit of depth to their magic system and character building. There are much more interactive roguelikes out there, and with very well-defined worlds like Dwarf Fortress. I really admire Dwarf Fortress's ability to generate entire histories on the fly and have them make sense internally to the world that they exist in. Because honestly, looking at some of the stuff Dwarf Fortress comes up with is frankly mind-boggling in the level of nonsense that is present. But it makes for good storytelling. So these are Necromancer infested ruins, but we're not seeing a lot of skeletons right now. Mostly bandits and wildlife. Cheeky level up right there. Get some more resistances. Increase our ability to deal damage with shield slam. Stop points. And we are ready to go into the next room. Ooh! I haven't seen this man before. The Possessed. He's the boss of this dungeon. He's quite a lot of health. He has about 1.5 times the health that I have, and resists about 1/4 of the damage that we deal. So, the best course of action is to probably just kill that bandit. Charge straight in, and wail on him. It's not like we have much other options, but there are a number of ways that can go much poorer than it did. Take that wall away, maybe. See, sneaky bandit. And there's another one like that right here. Huh? No bandit this time, though, unfortunately. This gem, I think we're done here. Yeah, so we'd just be trekking back up through the dungeon we skipped, so let's just teleport out of here. Ooh. Planar beacon. Strange teleporting item. Don't need it. Filthy mage trash. Plate armor. Finally, plate armor. Get some of that on. Now we're a real dwarf. I almost forgot. There's this is a cheeky little feature. In normal play, the first time you see this, you will unlock some sort of combat mode, but just following this man to an arena, you get a nice little reward for completing this combat challenge. And that nice little reward is I think it's a free class point or free generic point. Yeah, it's a couple free generic points in the skill tree, which are really nice. Nice little quality of life convenience thing there. Power yourself up a little earlier than you otherwise might be. We're not here to care about the story. We're an adventurer. We're paid to go loot dungeons, basically. So that's what we'll keep doing. We'll keep charging through all of these dungeons that we come across. This is a bit of a labyrinth. It's like we got the comfy generation where it's just one nice floor instead of, I think it's 5 floors, and you've gotta jump down holes, and it's just really dark and claustrophobic. These assassins are somewhat obnoxious. They like getting close to you, lay a trap, and then run away. But since this is a closed maze here, they can get stuck in corners pretty easily. Smashing these trolls, bandits, thieves. Ooh, and a silk cube. Gelatinous cube. Strange, vast. Is there an end state to this game? I believe there is, but I've never gotten a character there. There is an entire second continent and more on the world map, and I have only ever gotten to the second continent once or twice. There's a really strange difficulty spike. Well, I guess it's not strange, but there's a difficulty spike that I'm often ill-prepared for. Oh, hello, Narkowski. Talking again, I see. I'm unsure of the victory condition, but I've only ever gotten to the second continent. I think about 4 times. And usually with the Necromancer. But I haven't played Necromancer since they changed how the Necromancer looks, so maybe that will change really soon. But they did a big skill rebalance change for the Necromancer and how his minions work and stuff. The game is quite hard. Yes, it is. And you played for a long time before getting your first win. Yeah, I've yet to get there. Partially because I refuse to play this outside of permadeath mode. I think playing a roguelike with permadeath off, especially when a roguelike is generous enough to have ways to Oh, sorry, Bunzel. Hello. I should have told you, or been aggressive in my self-posting instead of dropping a time several days ago and then sticking to it. Where was I? You played for a long time before getting your first win, I guess. Yeah, I have not gotten close to a win condition in this game. But that is how roguelikes are, and that is how they should be. You're totally right about that. Oh, permadeath. I like playing roguelikes with permadeath in them. Not having permadeath is somewhat... It defeats the purpose of the character, and knocks you out of a role-playing sense every time you have to load a save, I think. And that's why horror games... Oh, I've been fairly close just by getting to the east. Oh man. The last thing that killed me, I think. I remember my last death when I got over there. It was the storeroom full of, well, I suppose I won't spoil it completely, but there's this nice storeroom full of very friendly rainbow creatures. I thought I could hide from you. No, I just didn't do a self-post, because by the time I was going to self-post, Ilska had already joined me, and I didn't want to sit around while I thought of a self-post to type up. Yes, the overpowered multi-hued worm vault. I almost got through it. I forget exactly what killed me, but I died trying to escape the room. I think I was a dozen turns away or so from my recall rod going off when I got cornered. Yeah, but that run was very, very fun. Hello, Hoshi Area. Hoshi Aria? Aria. All you gotta do is drop a link, don't think about it too hard next time. Will do, Rin. I will do that. We've got a lot of loot since this maze floor is pretty big. I like the look of this room. Gives us some stats. Acid damage. And reduces strength, dexterity, and constitution sometimes when hit enemies with weapon. Ooh, a steel mace. That might be an automatic upgrade. No, still does less damage than the Skull Cleaver. Robes we don't care about. Boots we don't need. Very nice plate armor. And a tier 3 shield. We'll take the shield too. Now I have to do an interview with Rin. Oh god, am I going to have to install Skype? I detest Skype, but I'll do it if I'm asked. I cannot wear this. I'm missing the strength requirement. Ah, yes, stat requirements. Stat requirements in the plate armor too. We'll just have to hold on to those for later. Velik, hello Velik! How are you doing today? Grimcast's next guest. I just hope I'm fortunate. A fortunate guest, not an unfortunate guest. I don't think there's much out of this pile of loot that we can use. These are wizarding rings. Oh, but we don't have an amulet yet. And it gives life loot. Look at that. Oh, I'm doing good. This is a lot less anxiety-inducing than I thought it would be. But maybe that's the game. I know I only have about 200 hours playing this game. But I know a little bit about it. So we already killed the boss of this floor. Maybe a little too quick for you to catch it, but it was a Minotaur. And that is a reference to the classic tale of the Minotaur and the Maze on Crete. I forget the name of that story. It's a very, very cute little story, Minotaur and the Labyrinth. As soon as you go live, the anxiety goes away. Yes! Yes, I don't know how it works, but it does work like that. So we're just finishing off killing all the animals in this dungeon. Sneaky thief there, sneaky thief here, and a dagger. We'll open those chests. There's nothing left to do. Sometimes it's best to save the chests for last, because they can pop out very powerful enemies. So many friends. Yes, it's very nice to be surrounded by such nice people today. Yeah, very powerful enemies like this that try to blast you with ice. He's no match for our dwarf right now, though. Ah, and we're surrounded by little leech creatures. Be gone. I'll just teleport out of here, start through the loot again. The cashmere cloak. The maximum life is more useful for us than the unrelated stats. Oh, you're nice. That's news to you. Well, I've got news for you, friend. We're all nice here today. Still not as good as the axe we have. These boots have an active talent and no other enchantments. And it gives us a 23% chance to evade attacks and increase defense for 4 turns every 30 turns or so. That is not a good ability. You are not nice. Oh, Ray, you're nice. Come on. Oh, and hello, Arthur Abbott. How are you doing today? Radiant steel that allows us to breathe in water. That will come in handy later. So we'll just take that. I noticed our encumbrance is getting a little high, so we can manually transmogrify some of these items. Or perhaps go to the nearest town and sell them. You have ponies, those are pretty nice. No. I'm sorry, no. We'll just walk up to this man that's selling random infusions and dump a load of our heavy iron equipment on him that we no longer need. These gems are somewhat useful later, and they are mostly weightless, and they're good to have around if you see something you want to buy that's a little out of your price range. Oh, we have some points to spend. So we'll just upgrade our armor then, and we're going to need some more strength to put on those nice items that we found in the last dungeon. So, weapons mastery, merit points, loving shield stone and shield armor, and the rest of the things stone health. Banish the ponies. Yes, I agree with this statement. However, if somebody here would like to just hide their power level and not discuss ponies, I believe it's fine for them to stay. Ah, a magic-using elf that would like to be escorted. Well, you know what we do with elves around here, especially magic-using ones. We'll take them to their portal, but the portal won't send them where they want to go. In fact, we have cursed that around elves protect yourselves. That is a very smart thing to do, and we are taking a lot of damage from a strange area of effect ability that killed the elf. Problem solved. There is no more elf now. So if we had brought the elf to this purple portal here, the elf would have been sent to a camp full of magic haters that would have killed the elf for practicing magics. Oh, and a room full of ants! We've stumbled across an anthill. This will take a moment to get through, but it's a nice, I will turn the volume down for you a little bit here, because the ants can get quite loud. Yes, this is a room for ants. There are a lot of ants and other bugs here in this forest, but it's a lot of nice little experience boosts. Always gotta be searching for the way to get that next level. And this bear is messing us up a little bit. Oh, another room full of snakes this time. Thankfully, they're all in single file. So you can just plow through them like that. Ah, you magic casting crystal creatures. They do a lot of damage, but they're very weak up close. In fact, they shatter like glass, with nearly no health and no defense. Skeleton. What's a skeleton doing here? When it flies, and we will be immediately accosted by bandits as we investigate this strange stone building in the middle of this abandoned forest. They're trying to poison us, but it's not doing them much good because their normal attacks can't get through our armor in the first place. There are a lot of nice treasure here, but not a lot of good items. it seems. Ooh, maybe these are some good items. And speaking of good items, I think we have the strength requirements to put on this better shield now. Yes. Also this plate armor. Yes! Very good. But we're not chucking this plate armor yet. It'll come in handy very soon, since it allows us to breathe underwater. Leather cap. With 6% resistances for a lot of kinetic damage. Opens door. Moo. Yes! The doors do sound somewhat like cows, though. You're right. I don't think there's anything else in this inventory worth equipping. But we'll just go to the next zone. Maybe we can convince Carmine that's how cows sound. Carmine making cow noises would be very, very nice. Oh, we couldn't convince him of the existence of chegs the other day. What makes you think we can convince him cows are real? Yes, cows are doors. Every cow is a door. A portal to a dimension where you are surrounded by fluffy cows. Moo. We're just bashing all the monsters in this forest with our very nice axe here. Those worm masses are just writhing piles of worms. Ooh, another hammer. Writhing piles of worms that will sometimes split into more of themselves. We can never tell Carbomb about mirrors. But certainly we can tell Horse Quarry about the existence of silvered glass. I'm sure he'd be interested in being a magician and all. Practicer of magics. Though I can't agree with his practicing magic. I can respect what he can do with that skill. The sacred Cheg. Oh, there's nothing sacred about the Cheg, Arthur. It's an unholy monstrosity. These slimes are splitting on us too, but they're very simple opponents. They don't do much more than launch projectiles and warp around the forest around us. Ah, a bear, and a tree full of bees. No, we'll get through that in no time. Cut down that tree too while we're at it. On to the next zone. We've got a nice ring here that gives us exactly the stats that we were using in our bows here. So we'll just dump this encumbrance ring. Put that on. The longbow we don't need, a bunch of magic equipment. A mace that does barely more damage than our axe, but has no lifesteal, can stay in the gold bucket. Another escort quest, and it's another magic-using elf. We'll give them the same treatment we gave the last one, but hopefully we can... I have spoken too soon already. The elf is dead to a projectile attack. Such frail creatures, those night ears. I wonder how they survive. We continue to trek through this forest to what waits us on the other side. Oh, I think we might be accosted by more crystal creatures sooner rather than later. Yes, very dangerous, those crystals. They can freeze you like that. Oh, and some dragons. There's some dragons nesting in this forest here. Little, storm drakes. Slaughtering a whole family of them we are. Wonder if their mother is around. Well, it doesn't appear that's the case. Why do they sound like elephants? Which creatures sound like elephants? The dragons. Well, it's because they have deep, bellowy voices, because they have large caverns in their body where they store the gases that they use to breathe their magical breath. In fact, when you think about it, dragons are some of the least magical creatures out there when they operate based on gaseous principles. You know, spraying poison everywhere, chilling the area by breathing nitrogen on you. Oh yes, the dragons. Yeah, they do make elephant-like noises. Another good ring for us. Much better than this marksmanship ring. Gives us a bit of strength and armor. Exactly what we were looking for. Ah, the boss of this zone already. A giant crystal creature. This crystalline structure seems to be filled with a malevolent aura. Through the crystal surface you can still see the remains of what was once a huge tree. Fascinating. That might have just destroyed all of your ears, and if so, I am sorry, but there are a lot of projectiles flying around. We'll activate our pain resistance. Sidestep some of the incoming projectiles. Turn on a defensive perk. Try to bash away some of the crystal creatures. And then attempt to begin wailing on this crystal as it teleports away. And it is gone. The crystal is dead already. What is this? Oh, the healing amulet can heal us instantly. Interesting. D&D dragons use magical or elemental breath rather than gases. Well, those dragons sound like good dragons to slay. The less magic there is, the better. Thank you for pointing that out, Elspeth. I'll make sure to remember that the next time I encounter a dragon in Dungeons & Dragons. Fighting off a swarm of bugs and bees there as we are accosted by plants from a distance. Filthy magical plants. Cut down this whole grove of plants. Why not? Lots of plants today. Oh, bear, a welcome break from having to cut down all those weeds. And another magical plant that has summoned a clone of us to fight us. That's not very nice of it. Little shadow clone's no match for us, though. I half expected to be dead by now, by the way. I'm surprised that we've gotten to level 15 on the first try. Although that might change when we go to the next area. Stormfront. Must be held with both hands. Into the trash it goes. How do these boots compare? Much better resistances, no stamina effect. Quite like that. Better gloves. Not better gloves. Another couple levels. Just one. resistances. Pop off our damage dealing ability. Get some health. And this is why we have saved this water-breathing armor. There is a lake here, with the ruins of an ancient civilization lying on the far side of it, buried under the waves. When we descend into the submerged ruins, the walls look extremely ancient, and we feel power within this place. This is an absolute nightmare to navigate without the ability to breathe underwater, if you could believe that. You have to fight your way through one or two floors of these water creatures, while traveling between those pockets of air that you can see, these little bubbles. And it really is difficult. I've only done it once without water breathing, and I would not recommend it. Just wandering through, killing all the aquatic wildlife. Looking for the staircase to the next floor. Are these frogs? I don't think there are any frogs here, just eels, electric eels, and some sort of water goblin imp creature things. And these squid. Squids are nice. Did you know that some people keep, what are they called? Little cuttlefish as pets? The little saltwater guys with the see-through bodies and the tentacles. The tiny little squid boys. Yeah, squids are here, but no frogs, yes. You've got to be squidding me. Oh, that's a delightfully dirty pun. Do I have a Twitter? I believe I set it up properly to link to my Twitter under the screen. I haven't made much use of it yet, though. I didn't want to go around tweeting before streaming and be a filthy TBA. I hope you can understand. Oh, thank you for linking it, Arya. As we descend to the next level, you traverse a kind of magical barrier keeping the water away. The barrier seems to be failing, however, and the next level is flooded too. So yes, this is really where the water breathing comes in handy. So if you've got to be going, Arthur, have a nice day, and thank you for coming. I can set it up so Streamlabs posts a tweet when I go live. Huh. I'm not... Is that dependent on using the Streamlabs OBS software? Because I'd like to avoid that as much as possible. I'm currently just using OBS Studio. Oh, it is dependent on Streamlabs OBS. Might have to look into that, or I can just force myself to make a tweet every time I go live. This squid has a very odd protective bubble around it. We're not doing much damage to him. We'll just kill his friends. Oh, and then he goes down in one hit. What is this? An aquatic horror, the Swarm Hive, a titanic mass of flesh that pulsates and churns as tiny monsters burst from its orifices. That is, unsettling. We'll just, try to deal with that. On one of the more, kitschy features of this game is that there's an embedded IRC chat that I'm not sure how to turn off entirely, but it broadcasts death messages of every other player playing the game in the lower right is the screen. So another one of these swarm hive things sending us little minions at us and trying to blow us away. Still no match for our axe. What is this even? An entrenched horror. A massive stony structure shifting and pulsating with many long tentacles probing the nearby water for food. Ooh, wants to eat us. I'm the only person streaming this game on Twitch except for a Russian. That is good information. If I'm joining the ranks of Russians and playing obscure games unknown to the West, I have found my calling. Bashing our way through those horrors and squids. Something's Infested, Florida. With a magic squid. Zerath the squid. Beat him into submission. He's gone. Another pin tractor. I think we're looking for the stairs now. Oh, these things. Yeah, they are water imps, not frogs. A small water demon lobbing spells at us. Oh, you know what we do to spellcasters. We just delete them with our shield. Open some doors, and next floor. No good loot in here, strangely enough. Ah. This level seems to be removed from the rest of the rooms. The air is fresh, and the level is lit. You hear the distant crackling of magical energies. Ooh, magic. And a guardian. I don't know if we can take on this guardian right now. He's got 1,000 health, resists 31% of the physical damage we do, and is 3 levels higher than us. A roughly humanoid creature with tentacle-like appendages in the place of arms and legs. You gasp in horror as you notice it has no head. Putrid warts form quickly on its skin and explode as quickly. Ooh. And it's casting magic at us. So we have a level up here. Power is money. Ah, yes, this is one of the great things about being a dwarf. All of the gold that we're collecting and hoarding gets converted into physical saves. Physical, mental, and spell saves. So we'll just put a point in that. And right now it's +8 to our saving rolls. Health and strength. Ooh. It's skin though. And that's only 2%. We get the plus spell save since it's relevant immediately. I think we're just going to try to take this guy on, even though we might not be able to. I think we deal enough damage. We put a shield up. Dirty. Playing dirty. This little orange mark here in the upper left of this enemy's icon is signifying that we blocked an attack and have a counter available when we hit the next predator. Oh no, we're frozen. It's bad. Let me unfreeze myself once every 15 turns. I hope he doesn't have another use of that. Now that he's cornered, it's a matter of laying on him. I'm liking how the health bars are looking right now. We raise our shield to block some of the magic damage he's throwing out, and he has healed himself to full. Ooh. We might have to do the cowardly thing and run away. Is there shame in running away from a fight that you can't win, I wonder? Yeah, we just don't deal enough damage to overcome his healing. So I think we'll have to come back later. Unfortunate. Storming the city. I have forgotten where the quest point is. Since I use it so infrequently. There it is. So you approached the town of Girth, you saw a huge dark cloud over the small town, and when you entered, you were greeted by an army of air elementals slaughtering the population. Now, here's Girth, let's go check that out. Air elementals sounded key. Yeah, there's one. Off to the south, just beyond where we can see. It's already pinned us and is lobbing lightning at us for hundreds of damage. That's really very not good. Although they go down easy. They're a bit of blast cannons, I guess, since they're made entirely out of wind. Come on, where are the rest? There's a billion people. We're just cleaving these thunderous tornadoes in half with our simple bone axe. It's quite a nice feeling. A halfling comes forth from his hiding place and says, "You killed them all. Are we safe now? Oh, please tell me this was a bad dream." We've dispatched the air elementals, and we asked him where they came from, and if he knows what they wanted. Of course, the halfling tells us nothing important. "From nowhere. From the sky. I do not know. I was tending my crop just outside the town, and I heard screaming. As I entered the town, I saw the dark cloud over here. Those things were coming from it in blasts of lightning." Well, they've stopped for now. We've cleaved the remaining ones in flame, and we're going to look for someone that could help with the situation. He thanks us and directs us towards Ziggur, the mage hunting town. That's all our business here at the moment. So this was obviously a magical thunderstorm. And this guy right here can help us with magic. He's an apprentice mage. Says good day to us, and we ask him what brings him out into the wilds. Says it's a sad story and wishes not to trouble us, but we press him anyways. "No, this one is a human, Wilster, not another elf. Thankfully. Human mages we can at least speak with, even if we can't agree on how they protect themselves." He informs us of Angelwyn, which is a hidden city of mages. Although he realizes that he has slipped up and that we are not supposed to have known about that city. And he tells us that he's looking for an arcane artifact, and we might have one to give him immediately, but it looks like we don't. And from here, the zones get progressively more difficult. I think the next one is this tunnel on the beach here. The lost kitty! Meow. Rubs up against our leg and purrs. Oh, we can give him some troll intestines. Sure, why not? It eats the troll intestines and looks happy, and after a while it strolls away. Somehow you feel you have not seen the last of it. The cat. We're just going to go into this strange hole in the beach. And what do you know? It's full of sandworms! Sandworms on the beach. This is the variant of the very big worms that make the big tunnels. A lot of the dungeons and maps in this game have alternative variants, where there's a standard variant and a slightly rarer variant that will show up randomly, and we have lost the almost. Yes, we've lost the worm tunnel and are dying because sand is falling on us. We've got to keep up with the sandworms. Quick, call Kevin Bacon. Ooh. Oof. Area, oof. The sandworms create the spice. Yes, they do. However, there is no spice in this game. If I can get my hands on it, I would like to play, I believe it's Doom 2000. Was it released in 2000? There's a nice old RTS game set in the Doom universe that I've never had a chance to play. But I feel like it would be good material to investigate that on stream for the first time. Is that the one with the full motion videos? I don't know if it has full motion videos, but if you want full motion videos in your RTS games, the go-to for that is always Command & Conquer. And this slime is giving us a little trouble, but it dropped a nice looking hat for us that we can investigate once we've done this tunnel. This axe from that guy, run past the slime. Certainly the end of this beach tunnel is coming shortly. Nothing worth grabbing. Another big sandworm. A giant digestive sac. Yep. Oh, and it's filled with slime. Yep. Of course. Why can't it just be filled with loot? Why is it always gotta be slime? You think you played Doom 2000 or stuff? How is it, if so? Do you have any, comments? Can you remember anything about it? We've gotta keep up with the worm. We can't keep wasting our time with this fire-casting slime here. Yeah, we really can. Tunnel's floating in, and the slime is suffocated in the wall. I'd rather not share the same fate. You think it played like Command & Conquer? That would make sense, because I think Westwood is the developer for both of those games, were they not? Oh, and we've caught up to the second worm's tunnel. Oh no, this is bad. Shows we've gotten ourselves into a pickle here. We are surrounded with our air pocket rapidly disappearing, and we can only hope that the worm that is now following us can come and dig us out before we suffocate. Yes, okay. Very lucky there. That was a bad move on my part. Very lucky to have gotten dug out by that worm in time. Because if you run, I believe if you run out of oxygen, you start losing a couple hundred hit points per second. Well, not per second, per turn, I should say. This is one of the longer sand tunnels I've seen. Emperor Battle for Doom is the one that we use apparently. Ooh, good information. There's more than one Doom RTS in that style then. Emperor Battle. Ooh. I'll have to look into that after this game. Ooh, frozen place for a second there. Nah, these worms are nothing to us. Oh, the tunnel is getting quite claustrophobic now. As I say that, it opens up. Good fortune. Good luck getting them to work on modern systems. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I think I would need to emulate an older version of Windows in order to get those working properly. Since if they run through DOSBox, the odds of getting them captured properly is slim to none, especially if they default to full screen. Let's just check all the loot got in this big worm tunnel here. It looks like mostly a lot of Mage gear. But there is this one axe that has a good damage rating compared to the one that we're using currently. No life steal though, that's a pretty rare stat anyways. But it gives us strength. +2 strength, that's pretty decent. And dexterity that we don't have to put points into. I think we'll start using that. Nice heavy gauntlets here. Not a lot of resists, but disarm, immunity, and saving throws. I think we want to keep the current clothes we have on. DOSBox isn't fun to mess with. No, it's really not, Arya. It's a miracle that DOSBox works the way it does. Anyways, I really don't understand why it is the way it is, and how it works and how it sometimes doesn't, but it's just nice to be able to play old games without having a copy of Windows 95, Windows ME lying around. So this is a Tier 3 hat. It's actually got the same armor rating as the hat we have on. And doesn't do much for us other than that, so I think we can check that. And there's not really anything else in this pile of loot for us, is there? Nope. Ah, good, the tiny ones. Tiny ones are back and down. Oop. Giant pile of creatures. Gotta fight our way into the room before we get trapped in the wall again. Oh, it doesn't look like that's happening. Oh, good. It's just. Is this? Oh, this is the sandworm thing. Yep. Boss already. Now let's see how we do. That would explain why there were new sandworms popping. That she's spawning. It's like she's summoning these fire-spitting ants and weird black creatures. Quest complete. Sandworm Queen is slain, and we have taken her heart. Just open up these chests for some loot. Get stunned out of our mind by a magic slime. And let's get out of here before the sand tries to suffocate us again, huh? Two-handed weapons. The true striking steel mace crippling does about 20 less damage than our current axe over here. I think this is a very easy dungeon for crystals, so we'll just ignore that for now. I'm wondering where the game is this time. Ah, yes, the Daikara. Ooh. That The Daikara is a mountain range in this game, filled with ice giants and temporal anomalies and generally strange creatures that love to phase through rocks and throw things at you. It's a generally unpleasant experience, and I try to keep it out of my mind, but it appears we must once again venture into it. Another escort quest. I don't believe we can complete this one because of where we are getting it, but I would love to show you all what happens when you can complete one of these. And this is a repented human thief. I think we should put on our better armor for this. Good. Great hatchlings. I'd much rather deal with hatchling greats than have to throw myself against ice giants at the moment. And speaking of, there's one of the snow giants. Ice giants, snow giants. What's the difference? They're both cold water. Sounds delightful. Yeah, this mountain range really is delightful, huh? Wouldn't you just love to vacation here and be surrounded by venom drakes, ice drakes, snow giants, get thrown into a portal that sends you to, 12,000 BC? There's it several million BC. I forget. There's a time portal involved in this place sometimes. It's not. There's one of the real nasties. The boulder throwers. They do exactly what the name implies. They throw boulders at you, and it's awful. And there is a snow giant. Jeez. This is turning into a real monster zoo right quick, isn't it? Yes. Oh my. Jotun. Yeah, isn't that an old Norse word for giant? So we're essentially giving up on our escort quest at this point, hoping that he doesn't die, because we are now fending for our own life with the amount of monsters that are aware of our presence and chasing us now. Oh, and he's dead. It is now a matter of survival. We are surrounded on 4 sides, being accosted by snow giants. The equivalent to Greek Titan. Yeah, that makes sense. I believe in their mythology there's a great event centered around banishing or destroying the giants. And speaking of giants, it's a little interesting how a lot of historic civilizations around the globe, have a giant myth. Like a myth of giant humanity or giant humanoid life, despite never interacting with each other and there being little, if any, archaeological evidence of giants. Perhaps the idea is just so universal because there has been a constant obsession with gigantism in human history. All of the European ones have the same root. Ooh! Do they? What root would that be? I'd love to know more about this. I'm a big fan of history. There's the portal that the poor thief wanted to go to. A magic rock thrower. Put him out of his misery. I'm surprised we got through that fight relatively unscathed. Proto-Indo-European. Isn't that I've heard that phrase be called a buzzword before for a language family. And that some people are quite not enthused with it. I don't think any of this gear is worth keeping. And we have a level from this one. Ooh, we have 2 levels. How did I miss that? Top off our offense. Invest more with defense 2. Max out our health. This is 20%. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ilska, but Proto-Indo-Europeans were supposedly like a steppe group that migrated into Europe from the east, right around where Turkmenistan is today. Does that sound about right? Yeah, that does sound about right. They either merged with or replaced the native cultures in Europe. You know, that does make sense. Europe, if I'm remembering my extremely ancient history, right, Europe used to be populated mostly by Neanderthals, and then Homo sapiens moved in and killed or otherwise conquered, the Neanderthals that were present there. So that would make sense. Punch Death, the rough leather belt. Chromatic resistances, plus physical damage, and essentially what is a plus 60 to my maximum health. Ooh, that's much better than a stealth bonus, I think, right? Yeah, it's why Europeans and Asians have 1 to 3% Neanderthal DNA. Yep. Back when there was, more than one, intelligent hominid on the planet, yep. Oh yes, Denisovans. I don't know much about Denisovans. They were an isolated cave culture, weren't they? And didn't really exist all that long because their archaeological record is mostly limited to one specific spot, isn't it? Because it turns out that Central Asia is not exactly the best place to be when you haven't invented much in the way of clothing or permanent structures yet. Now, speaking of climates, I hope you're all doing okay if you live in the United States right now. I hear that it's very cold in the Central South. Farming is just too overpowered. Oh, don't I believe it. Farming is very overpowered. How else are you supposed to get, like, thousands of calories with minimal effort? Like, your choices are spend all day hunting, or put some seeds in the ground and wait 9 months. It's usually not 9 months, but that's just the growing season in places in winter, if you're lucky. Ooh, a big stony boy, Hardcore Zoom, a unique demon. A gigantic demon composed of elemental earth, resembling a twisted Zarin, but much, much larger, does not seem pleased with our presence. Have I ever played Dawn of Man? No, I haven't. Isn't that it's like a city builder, based in, like, the Stone to Iron Age, that plays a bit like Banished? Does that sound right? I think I've seen it, but I've never played it, and I don't own it. Cool Hardcore Zoom. Ooh, that's an achievement. Very nice. Powerful staff sent in secret to Engleland by the Shallowing Elves. Ooh, an elf staff. Oh, you know that's getting tossed. And with that, I think the floor is over. Almost. Look, an elf staff. That's getting chucked for sure. You're now carrying more than 1,000 coins. Very nice. Oh, level up, that's that button. So an ice strike. Oh no. That better be the boss in this one. Yes, okay. No. We charge into the boss, hoping to deal with it quickly, and we're met with a blindsiding enemy around the corner. Another boulder throwing snow giant. With a magical effect. I don't have an easy escape from this. And I can't do much damage to the snow giant, so I think my best bet is to backpedal and attempt to isolate one of these. Yes. Okay, this looks more workable now. Especially now that the boulder thrower is taking some damage. Yeah, okay, we should be fine now. Let's say as I'm thrown backwards from the ice strike. That's the ice worm. Is this hurting your ears, by the way? I know the sound effects in this game can be quite grating. Okay, good. Well, this ice dragon is now playing a game of keep away because it's afraid that we're going to kill it, which we are if we were given a chance. Although our stamina's not looking pretty good right now, so I think I might be out of burst damage to kill it with. And it's regenerating. Ooh, it's only got 6% of its health left. And it's dead. Very nice. We bash it with our shield and it stops moving. And it drops some frost treads. Cold leather boots. Radiating cold blue light. And the rest of this floor should be a mop-up. As we hit levels. Oh god. This room down here, that you can see these cliffs jutting out of, that's not a fun room. It's filled with boulder throwing snow giants. Don't go in there unless you can teleport straight into the center. Category points. Might as well upgrade these shield defenses. Get some better stamina regen because we clearly need it. Get a little bit of max stamina off the willpower stat. I'm glad that the sound effects aren't hurting the ears too bad. Where does this class point go? 7 stamina returned on full. That doesn't sound bad. But I think I'd rather get shield expertise. Gives us more saves. Improves our damage doing capability. The writing in Yermic. Impudent fools treading upon dragon's ground, slaying my dear kin just for the skin. They will pay, they will pay. I called the drake, which told it to be cunning, avoided the dwarf's gaze, laughed as it bit into that ranger's arm. Ah ha ha! They're killing each other now, simple creatures, simple soft-skinned creatures, not like dragons, so perfect, symbols of power and perfection. Their captain still lives, but not for long. I will bring her to you to feast. Rantha, I will see you soon. A filthy elf wrote this. You can tell because it says that a Shaloran wrote this. Shaloran is another word for elves. Thankfully, we haven't had to deal with elves too much. You know it's too much when you start seeing yourself surrounded by elves and they're trying to put flowers on your head. Yes, those dirty knife ears. We are charging into a den of death here, and it seems that we may not be able to get out of it alive, but we can play this smarter, try to lure them out, fight them one or three at a time instead of a whole hallway of them at once. Oh, 1,000 kills with this character already. Ooh. That's we've been running into a lot of monsters these. Just like that one. We're just cleaning up this last floor here. Trying to get the most out of it before we leave for the next turn. Yeah, room full of boulder throws, no thanks. And I think that's actually the last room on this floor, so let's just get out of here. We might keep these boots. Because of the movement speed bonus on them. That movement speed will help us out. Since movement speed makes moving to a new tile cost less of a turn, it means that we are more effective at running away despite wearing extremely heavy armor. Life regen plus 0.9 is not better than plus 16, so... How long have I been streaming for so far? Feels like it's been about 2 hours. I'll just check that real quick. 1 hour and 50 minutes. Ooh, that would explain why my throat's beginning to burn. I don't think I've talked this much in months. I believe that there was a mage that wanted a magic item from us. I don't know if we have any to give him. Or we could give him Skull Cleaver. That's fine, we're not using it anymore. And with that, he would let us into the city of mages. Yeah, thanks us for his donation. Yeah, that tea with honeymoon really works. I am strongly in support of it, and I think I should go do a pot of it as soon as I'm done with this stream. I think getting into the city of mages is not a good enough stopping point. So we'll try to take on the next challenge and then probably stop after that. He marks the entrance to the city of Mages on our map, which is conveniently a portal right next to where the mage is hanging out. Hey, do you drink much tea, Ulster? I am a big fan of tea. I have a cabinet full of all kinds of tea. Black teas, green teas, fruity teas, sweet teas, dessert teas, no caffeinated teas. Did you know that you can make tea with the twigs of the Cannula sinensis tea plant? There's a special name for it. I think it's called the what? The plant that we get tea leaves from most commonly. Its scientific name is Cannula sinensis. I may be mispronouncing this. One second. Camellia sinensis. Yes, I was getting it wrong. Here in chat for you. So that's where tea leaves come from. And there are ways to make tea out of the twigs and branches of that plant also. And I believe that kind of tea is called kukicha. It's somewhat smoky compared to other teas, even white teas. It has a very nice woody taste to it, as you might expect of a tea made from twigs. But anyways, here we are in the city of Mages. Angleton. We're talking to the Archmage right now to try to solve the storm over the town to the east of here. Ginger tea. Yes, ginger tea is very good. Has a good flavor, especially black tea with ginger. Black tea with lemon, ginger, and honey is the magical meme that cures all throats. So we're here to tell the Archmage that we require help with dealing with the storm elementals, the air elementals that were attacking the city. And the Archmage here, this block of text here. Yes, we have noticed the devastation that happened there. I have sent some friends there, thence to disperse the cloud, but the true threat lies not there. He who created this abomination is Urkus. He is a tempest, a powerful archmage who channels the storms. Years ago he went rogue, severing himself from Angleton. At first he remained quiet, and thus we withheld action, but it seems we have no choice now. Cleansing the skies will take much time. In the meanwhile, if thou art willing, we can send thee to Urkus' lair to face him. I will not lie to thee. We can send thee thence, but this could be a death trap, and we have no means for thou to depart his lair, as he lives atop a tall peak in the Daikara Mountains. So, the Archmage is sending us to go kill the wizard that was summoning the air elementals to attack the town. Normally we'd want a lot of plus electrical resistance going into this, but we haven't seen a lot of good insulating items like that. Does she have flaming wings? Yes, that's an effect caused by one of the spells that she is maintaining. Same with the purple shield around her and the aura of lightning. Mages are weird. I'd rather not deal with mages. Just bash things with a stick. It works. Cinnamon bark, orange peel, elderflower, cardamom seed, licorice root, ginger root, green tea, spearmint leaf, clove bud, and black pepper. That sounds very interesting. Of a blend of tea. How do the peppercorns affect the taste? Is it pleasant? No, we're just gonna have the Archmage send us off into this lightning death trap here. Stepping out onto unfamiliar grounds, you are nearly on top of one of the highest peaks you can see. The storm is raging above your head. There is only one way to go. Oh, and there's a chest. Let's open the chest and get killed by whatever's inside. It'll be very anticlimactic. Well, he almost got us, but not quite. Taste like allspice. You know, that doesn't sound unpleasant. I've had used allspice in cookies before. To make a certain kind of spice cookie. It's quite nice. Ooh, a dwarven steel mace. I wonder if this is much better. Does fire damage on hit. Anti-mage weapon, cripples mind powers and spell powers. It's very nice. And gives even more of a strength bonus. I like that. Oh, and how convenient! We get a shield of lightning resistance right when we need it. We might swap to that just for this fight because it's. Oh no! It's much better as a shield than whatever we're using currently. Bye-bye Titanic. Hello, Bulletin Shield, and lightning resistance. Ah, yes, more air elementals. Gwelgaroths, as the game calls them. And the description is as follows. Mighty air elementals, a pure incarnation of lightning and thunder. No match for our bashy stick, however. Who would win in a fight? 20 lightning-powered tornadoes or one bashy dwarf? Stick go bonk, yes. This is the principle that drives all combat. So the lightning-resisted shield is coming in very handy here, even having lightning cast at us in almost every room. And storm wizards around here somewhere. We're gonna go bonk them with our stick. Our very fancy, flaming dwarven steel stick. Is that a vampire stake? Persistent will. To another named item. During the Age of Dusk, a rash of anti-magic activities took place in the Nargol Kingdom immediately after the Spell Blaze. For context, the Spell Blaze was a catastrophic event that scarred the planet that we were standing on with flaming magic fires, essentially rendering the surface into a hellscape. Citizens would turn on those with magical powers. Good. Burning them alive on stakes of wood. When the authorities found the perpetrators, they executed them and planted their heads on stakes throughout their capital city. Despite this, however, the citizenry continued to burn alive the enemies of nature. Unbeknownst to the authorities, the heads of the dead perpetrators continued to spread their message long after their deaths. This stake of wood appears to be one of those used to prop up one of the executed heads. It has seemingly absorbed the will of the head it propped up, and holding it you can hear the Ziggurat's magic echo through your mind. This sounds like a magic using item. I don't like it. But we will check it out nonetheless. Persistent will. Ooh, it's a totem. It can be used to convince all non-magic users in a radius of 10 tiles to turn on spellcasting friends. Ooh. That might come in handy. But possibly not here. Ah, here's the very deadly storm mage. Oh, he's almost dead already, though. There you go. Love to see it. So, we will wrap up this dungeon and conclude the stream. I had been planning on doing a 4-hour stream instead of a 2-hour stream, but with the state of my throat and the, well, I tried to get Total Annihilation to capture properly in OBS, and I had absolutely no luck with that. I was going to play Total Annihilation. But, maybe next time, if I can get it to work. Okay, we're done in this zone. Sort through the loop. So useless ring, ranged weaponry, inferior armor. Yeah, we'll keep the total. Okay. Any closing comments from the chat here? It's been a very nice time playing this game and talking with you all. And if not, I'd like to thank you all for, oh, thank you. I do all of this, overlay myself. I'd like to thank you all for coming to the stream today and, watching or at least listening along with, me playing, Tales of Maj'Eyal. So, roguelike is very near and dear to my heart. Goodbye, and until next time, have a nice day.